All right, so again we'll discuss about the events, like what is event, what are events, why we need events, types of events. So when we need to communicate between two different components, we need to send the data information from component 1 to component 2. In that case, we need events. Again, type. So we have two types of custom events which we create. One is application and the another one component event. A part of that, we also have standard events like show colon, force colon show toast, force colon navigate to s object, navigate to record page, record id. These are all these standard events. But when we what we are talking about today, those are the custom events. So we have application event and component event. Now let's see how we will decide where we need to use which event. That's the important thing. So let me show you one diagram. So let's say we have here main component. Under that we have different component hierarchy: C1, C2, C3, and C4, C5, C6. So when you want to send the data, some information from one component to another component, and both the components are directly linked with each other, in that case we will use component event. But when two components are not directly linked but still those are connected by any other component, means not, those are not directly linked but indirectly they are connected, both components are connected, we will use application events. So let me put it in better way. Let's say if you need to send the data from C3 to C2. So as I said, both the components are directly connected, C3, C2, and we are communicating between the directly linked components. In that case, we will use component event. Now, let's say when two components are not directly connected, but still we want to communicate. Let's say now we want to send the data from C2 to C4. So if you see in the diagram, C2 and C4 are not directly connected, but they are connected, like C2 is connected by C1, then C1 is connected by main component, and C4 is again connected by the main component. So here both the components are connected, but not directly. They are connected indirectly. In that case, we will use application event. So what will be the hierarchy when you are going to use the events? There are certain steps. First we need to create the event. Let me write down those steps here. Steps to use component event. So for the component event, you need to have minimum two components and those should be linked. Create component 1 and component 2. Second step will be create an event. Create a component event. Now we need to identify from where we need to send the data, from where we are going to share the information. So here one will be the source component, another will be the target component, or you can say one will be the sender, another will be the receiver. So when we are communicating between two components, so one will be sender and one will be receiver. So from the sender component or from the source component, inside that we need to first register our component. Register, not component, register the event. Comp event in source component. So when we will register the event component event in the source component, or from the inside the sender component, we also need to fire that event from source/sender component. So once we will fire it, now it will be in the air and it will try to find out the handler. So once we fire the event, we need to provide the handler. Handler will be in your target component or receiver component. Handle the event in target component. And inside that, when we'll provide the handler, we'll provide the action. Inside the action JS, we will get the values, whatever values you are going to send. So let me follow these steps to create the component and to set up the communication. So let's create the component. Click on file, new, lightning component. So I'll give one name, target component. From to which component we want to send the data. So that will be your target. Another will be your source. Let's create another component. So we have created two components where we want to set up the communication. We want to send the data from one component to another component. Now another step is create an event. So how to create the event? Go to the file, new, lightning event. So here we will give the name custom comp event. That's the event name. You can put any name, it's up to your choice. Let's submit it. It will have, the root tag will have one mandatory parameter, one is type. So here we will define whether that will be your application event or the component event. So let me put here component, and inside this we can declare the attribute when we will communicate between two components. And if you want to send the data, we need the container, we need the variables in which we will store the data to send. I'm defining the attribute here. Let's say I want to send two parameters for now, and those parameters can be of integer type. Number one and number two. Next step is I need to register this event inside source component. So that's my source component. I need to provide the name of the event. You can say my event, or you can put the same event name as well. So to make the consistency, I'll use the same event name. Another one will be type. I also need to add the type. Type will be C colon your component name. Let me save it. Saved. That means there is no syntax error. Now, as I have added two inputs there, two attributes in the event itself, number one and number two. So what I'll do, I'll create a program to add two numbers. So when I will enter two numbers, I'll click on add, I'll fire the event, and I'll see the output in my target component. So I'll send the addition of two numbers into the target component, or you can say the parent component. Let's create another input. Enter first number and enter second number. Now I'll create one button. Add variant, let's say brand, and on click C dot add numbers. So inside this function, I'll get the inputs and I'll fire the event as well.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so this is my function here. First I'll get my numbers, both the numbers, where number one equals to component dot find or id, that is num1 dot get v dot value. Similarly, I'll do for number two. Here now I need to get my event first to fire that. So how we will be going to get the event? When I have registered my event, I have used name. So I'll use the same name to get the event here. Where that name equals to component dot get event, and here I need to pass the event name. As I have declared two attributes, that means I need to set the parameters in my event as well. So I'll use the same reference variable, same var dot set params, and then later on I'll fire it. Once I'll fire it, it will be in the air and it will start searching the handler. So let's add the parameters here. Go to the event. We have declared two attributes here. Number one, same number one, number two, comma number two. Now we have to go to our target component where we will provide the handler. Here we will add the handler, aura handler, name, same name we will give, whatever the name we have given here. Event and action. Action will be your handler. Event handler, or handle the comp event, you can put any name here. We will get those attributes here, where number one equals to event dot get param, and we have to pass the same parameter as we have in the event.
This conference will now be recorded.
So let's get the another attribute here. Let's define one more attribute here, which will hold the addition. Addition of two numbers. V dot this number. Now we have to set it here, sum equals to number one plus number two. So to set the attribute, we have the same syntax: component dot set v dot sum comma sum. Now let's go there. So we have declared two attributes. One is number one, number two in the event, and here we have registered this component event. So when we register the component event, we pass two parameters. One is name, another is type. We have, in addition to, we have created two parameters along with the function. So when we will enter the numbers, we'll get those entered inputs in JavaScript with the help of aura ID, where we are getting the numbers here. So let me use console.log here as well. Number one plus, let me type something, numbers in source plus number two. And here I'm getting this component. So that is the syntax component dot get event, and here we need to pass the event name. When we are registering it, so we are putting the name, that is identifier. We need to put the same name here. These are my attributes. I'll put in double quotes, and these are my input attributes which I have declared here, which I have, like, I'm getting from the inputs, and here I'm firing this event. Now I will add this a target component inside app. And another important thing is, I also need to connect both the components, because if you see, both the components are not directly connected or not linked. So to connect the components, I'll be using C colon component name. So component name is source comp. It's saved. Similar to that, I need to add this here. C colon target component. Now I'll preview it. Okay, so here you can see enter first number, enter second number. Let me inspect it first. Let's say 5, 8. When I click on 8, first of all I should see my console.log, which I have added in the sender component add numbers method. I have got it, got the both number. But if you see the addition, the same number I'm getting, but that is appending it, not adding it, because it's considering it as a string, not the number. So I need to parse it. So we have one function in JavaScript, parse int, by which we will parse it into the integer. Let me refresh it. So when I'll type the numbers, it should show me the addition of two numbers. So it's getting the output. You can keep adding this the inputs. It will keep displaying the addition. So similar to that, for the assignment, you can create create proper calculator example where you will be going to do addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. So that is how we can use the component event. Now let's say if we need to use the application event, what all changes will be there? So we have to create the event, we have to create two components or multiple components, because here there will be two components which won't be directly linked. They will be linked with another third component by other medium. So to demonstrate the example of application event, I'll create three components, and where both the components won't be linked with each other, but they will be linked by some other medium. So let me show you that example of application event.
This conference will now be recorded.
Let's talk about the application event now. So steps are create components. So here we'll create three components, 1, 2 and 3. Create app event. If you want to declare any attribute inside the event, you can. Register app event in source component, because here when we are sending the data, communication will be same, source to target. Fire the event from source, handle the event in target. So let me draw one hierarchy. which will create a clear picture. Let's say we have three components, C1, C2 and C3. Let me link these components. C2 is linked with C1 and C3 is also linked with C1. So if you see, that means C2 and C3 are not directly linked, but they are linked by some other component. Now if I need to send the data from C2 to C1, I can easily use component event, but here I will send the data from C2 to C3. As both the components are not directly linked, connected, I will use the application event here. How I will use, now let's see. Let's create three different components. Component 1, component 2, and component 3. Let's define the create one event. Custom app event, that's the name. Type will be application. I'll declare only one attribute this time, or a attribute name. Let's say my name. Type will be string. So what I will do, I will add my component 2 and component 3 inside the component 1, similar to this hierarchy which I have drawn here. So a component 2 and component 1 will be inside the component 1, 2 and 3 both. C colon comp1 and comp2. Okay, 2 and 3, my bad, inside 1. So component 2 and component 3 both are inside component 1. What I'll do, my component 3, it will be the source, and component 2 will be the target. If you see here, component 2 is not linked with component 3. So inside this, inside my component 3, as it's my source, I will declare, I will provide the, I will register my event. I'll provide the register event inside the component 3, which is my source component, or a register event. It will accept two things, name component event name, you can put my app event and type C colon event name, custom app event. Save it. We have to fire it, so we'll create one button to fire. Lightning button. Fire app event. On click C dot fire app event. That's my event name. Save it. So inside the component 3, I will add my function. So there is different syntax when we want to get the event, get the app event, where app event equals to $a dot get double quote e dot c colon event name. So my event name is custom app event. That's the only difference or major difference which we have in case of component event and the app event. If you want to send or set the parameter, we can set here. And fire it. So let's take the parameter my name. So my task to do of the source is done. Like I'm registering the event, application event. I have added the button. When I'll click on that button, fire app event, I need to get the application event which I'm getting here, and I'm setting the parameter, the event parameter which I have declared here, and then I'm firing that event, fire app event. So it's similar to the component event. If you notice, except this line. In case of component event, we use where variable name equals to component dot get event, and we pass the event name which we declare at the time of register. And in case of application event, we simply do where variable name, that is here app event, and $a dot get, then e colon c e dot c colon event name.
This conference will now be recorded.
So now I'll go to my target component. I'll add the handler. It will accept now two parameters. So there's another difference between the component event and the application event. When we provide the handler, we have added name, event, and action. Now here we will add event and action. We don't need to add the name. C colon event name, C dot handle app event. I'll get the parameter where I have added let's say my name equals to event dot get param. Syntax will be same. Go to the event, copy the exact name. There shouldn't be any mismatch, and I'll alert it this time. If everything is fine, I should get the data. If something is wrong, it will give me the error. Now I need to add my main component here, where I have added both the components in the application to preview. C colon comp1. Okay, we have the button. So when I'll click on this button, I'll click the button in component 3, that is my source, where I have added the handler. I am calling the function where I'm getting the event and I'm firing that. Now from there, once I fire, it will be in the air, it will start searching the handler, and handler is inside the component 2. Let me click on that. My name is Ravi Kumar Sen. So this time we are getting the data, but with the help of application event. And if you see, both the components are not directly connected. Component 2 and component 3 are not directly connected, but they are connected by third component, by different component. So this is how we can use application event and the component event in the project whenever you need. Syntax, logic, concept will be same. Your scenarios need can be different. Your requirement can be for different thing. You may need to send the object, number of attributes, class, wrapper, anything. That will be different scenario, but passing the parameter, registering the event, firing the event, handling the event, everything will be same. So that is all about the application event and component event.